Welcome to another short episode of the Tech Talks podcast. I'm back here after a few weeks off. Was vacationing and then just got really busy with getting a new job off the ground. So I haven't really talked about this much in the open forum yet. But a few weeks ago, I was hired by the University of Waterloo football team to help them with their strength conditioning. So getting that off the ground over the last few weeks has taken up a lot of time, and that's kind of why I haven't been getting to this. But we're back here. We're ready to go for another little quick discussion. So this has been kind of top of mind for me this week, just because with the new job at Waterloo and getting to meet all the players, we've been doing small group meetings and talking about goal setting. So a lot of conversations over the last 10 days have revolved around this topic of goal setting. So I thought I would just record something quick here, just some of my thoughts. And I think most people are probably familiar with the acronym, the SMART principle, as it pertains to goal setting. You can see it defined a few different ways. Some of the letters mean different things depending on where you look, but pretty much always the S and the M are specific and measurable. The A sometimes is achievable, sometimes it's attainable. For the R, sometimes we'll see realistic or relevant, and then the T is almost always timely. So a few times you'll see this explained a little bit differently. I like the specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. That's the one that I like. But for this discussion here, I really want to focus on the R and the realistic, and setting realistic goals, and why I think that's important. So a lot of the times when people are setting goals, they want to aim too high, in my opinion. So they want to like shoot for the stars, which by all means I think is never a bad thing. But I think you got to be realistic with how you kind of reverse engineer that process. So there's nothing wrong with setting big, large, audacious goals in terms of your outcome goal at the end. But once you define whatever outcome it is that you're looking for, you want to reverse engineer that process and break it into small micro goals that are more process based. So outcomes are obviously the thing you achieve at the end. The process is the step-by-step things that you have to do to get there. So you want to create these small micro process based goals, and we want to make sure that those are realistic. So a lot of the conversations that I've had with people, we'll be talking about goals, and they'll have this big goal at the end that they want to achieve. And then as we start to break it down, it's like, oh, that's too small. Like, I don't want to do that. Like, I want to aim for something bigger. And it's like, well, you know what? Like, the biggest thing when you're trying to achieve something is you need momentum. Okay. Especially if it's a bigger goal, it's going to be a process, right? It's going to take time. So you want to make sure that all those little micro steps along the way are super realistic so they can build momentum. Okay, because it's super important in that process. You want to set yourself up for success. So don't be afraid to aim small, right? Aim high, figure out exactly what it is you want to achieve at the end of this, and then go down to as small of a level as you can and set that first little process-based goal as small as possible to give you that early win, set yourself up for success, and get that momentum built. So a lot of the times what we'll do is we'll set these big goals, and then as we work backwards, we don't really make those process-based goals that small and that attainable. And then what we'll end up doing is we'll maybe bite off a bit more than we can chew, and then we don't achieve it, and then we don't get to build any positive momentum, and almost we start building negative momentum because you feel like you're failing because you haven't attained that goal yet, and then you end up giving up. I've seen it happen numerous times. I've been working with clients in the private sector as a personal trainer and strength conditioning coach for athletes for over 5 years now, and I've worked with hundreds of people, and I've seen a lot of people get frustrated in this process, and it purely boils down to they were unwilling to set those goals a little smaller. So there's nothing wrong with setting smaller goals, right? So a lot of times people say, I haven't gone working out, I want to start working out, and I want to go 4 times a week. It's like, is that really realistic for where you're at? If you're going from being completely sedentary and then you're trying to make that huge leap to 4 times a week, like maybe you can do that for the first week when you're super motivated and excited about starting something new, but after a few weeks you might find yourself falling off just because you haven't ingrained those habits of getting to the gym 4 times a week. So come week 2 or 3, you're not hitting 4 times a week anymore, and you feel like you're failing, and then all of a sudden you give up. So I would much rather see people aim low and say, hey, listen, like my first goal is I'm just going to try and get to the gym 1 time a week, And they do that for a few weeks. They start to build some momentum. They're feeling pretty good. They're starting to establish some new habits that are going to support this new goal. And then we can ramp it up to that next step, which is 2 times a week. And step by step, we can work up towards that eventual goal of getting to the gym 4 times a week. So just some quick thoughts off the top of the cuff today. And just to get back in here, getting back into the swing here of trying to do some weekly talks here for you guys. So as the last thing, my little brother, he says he watches and listens to all these episodes. So here's the test. He asked for a shout out, and I did it at the end to see if he listens. So Mitch, if you're listening, buddy, thank you. Here's your shout out that you asked for. If you guys have any topics that you want me to discuss in the future, please reach out and let me know. But these are just some quick thoughts here about setting goals and being realistic, setting yourself up for success, and building momentum right out of the gates. Thanks a lot.